Thanks for joining us here on the Sunday Sun. Yesterday, we brought you a disturbing story out of Chatham, Ontario. A couple bought a residential property with the intent of building a new home. But what they found was, to say the least, unexpected. Human remains in the foundation. The Tate family property stands on an old cemetery, and now they're stuck with a staggering financial burden to deal with the situation. One of the owners, John Tate, joins us now with the rest of the story. John, thanks for taking time to speak with us this morning.
Thank you very much, Brian.
John, this story was brought to our attention by Elwood Shreve, the reporter that you're familiar with, and some of the things he told us were quite shocking. But the first thing I want to talk to you about is that there's a situation that occurs whenever someone acquires a property that has human remains on it. The person who owns that property is required to maintain it and remove those remains unless there is a overburdensome financial element here.
Yeah, that's correct.
Is that the case that you're dealing with right now, and why are you not getting help? Because from what I've been told, the numbers involved here are quite high.
Yeah, at this time, we haven't been told by the cemeteries people if they're going to give us that help or not. Right now, they're saying that the first thing that they ask us for is all our financial records, everything to see if that we are able to pay for this ourselves. Unfortunately, you can imagine what that feels like when someone says, we want to see everything that you have, you own, and then we want to see if we're going to help you or not.
All right, well, let's take a look at that, because basically you bought a piece of property, you go ahead and try to do the right thing here, take care of these remains, and now you're having your every dollar and cent and everything you've ever earned and your whole life turned upside down scrutinized because you're trying to do the right thing. What's wrong with that picture? Try and help us out here.
I don't know. I can't explain it either. Like when we discovered these remains, absolutely, we were not sure what to do. We didn't even actually phone the police right away. We went online. We looked it up. Everything you read about it tells you not to do it. But my wife and I are the type of people that our conscience got the better of us. We came back. This property is actually an investment property for us. It was our first investment property. We couldn't take or allow us to, down the road to be sell this to somebody else, knowing that there's human remains underneath the property. So we called the police and we went through the process. As it turned out, looking back on it, I don't know. I wish I could rethink that day.
Yeah, I can understand that, John. Now, how long has this situation been going on? How long have you been dealing with this?
Approximately about 8 or 9 months now.
And there's nothing that the municipality in Chatham or the province has stepped forward to do for you as of yet?
What we find out with every department we talk to is that everybody feels sorry for us, and it's unbelievable, but there's really, I was in the MPP's office the other day, and he was almost like, it doesn't get us votes because we're such a minority kind of a situation. It doesn't happen every day. Our cemeteries people seem to believe that, there's 25 issues or occurrences like this every year. But an issue like this one, being on an old official cemetery, it's just no one wants to touch it. No one wants to get involved in it. Elwood had talked about the Genealogical Society the other day. They were a little upset with one of the articles that I had mentioned that, geez, I'm not trying to recommend people to break the law, but I'm saying you better really look at what they can do to you. And they were upset with us and sent me an email in regards to saying that we don't appreciate that kind of comments. But at the bottom of the email it said, we are, we're unable to support you in any way. It's like even every department, every avenue we go, nobody wants to help.
It's like, too bad you deal with it, we can't help. John, let me ask you a question. If the numbers involved here seem to be quite a bit to move the remains to another location and to also make sure there are no further remains within, 10 meters of the area yet you're going to build this investment property?
Within 10... Yeah, you have to check 10 meters in every direction. Like the remains that were found by the city workers in 1999 are approximately 5 feet from part of the remains, or the second set of remains that were located on our property. 5 feet. It's too close. The city probably should have done something at the time. I believe they should have done something at the time. The historians have been talking and putting reports. A man by the Hans Vanderdoe had put a report together in 2008 and sent it to City Council about cemeteries in the area that should be looked at and kind of red flag to give homeowners or future homeowners, a chance to take a look at it before they started building or spend a huge investment.
John, let me ask you another question here. You can't even put basically a shovel in the ground now to get your home started or this investment property started until this situation's been remedied, correct?
That's correct. Brian, there will be nothing will ever happen at this property. Our investment there, as you looked at the picture in there with our foundation that's partially in there, that foundation has to come out to do this assessment. It all has to come out because the bones are below that. It was found while they were putting the underground plumbing in after the foundation was put in. That all has to come out to do this 10 meters. So that whole investment, the $10,000 or $15,000 in the foundation, is gone. There are so many bones. If you can imagine, it's a multiple burial site. There's bones sticking out of our dirt everywhere. I have back when the first one was discovered. The cemeteries people sent down a lady to give us a quick assessment of it just to get an idea. And while she was at the property, we left her alone for 15 minutes. We came back and we asked her, how are you making out with this? And she says, oh, not good. This is a multiple burial site. And I said, oh, really? She's standing there by the sidewalk, and she points down, and here's a human skull laying on the sidewalk. And I said, it had rained the night before and had washed this skull down and out down on the sidewalk. Now every day it rains. The stress of this alone is unreal. Every day it rains here now. I have to go over to the lot because underneath the act, I'm responsible to make sure that people don't touch the remains, people don't go near the remains, and it's very, very frustrating.
John, we got to let you go, but before we wrap this up, well, two things really. I want you to stay in touch with us and let us know what happens, and also, what's going to be the outcome here? How much longer can you keep going with this? What do you expect to happen?
Be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen. We did get a lawyer to start off. Our first lawyer bill was $8,200. It got us nowhere, and our estimated next lawyer bill was $25,000.
My.
And what point? Where do we go? Where do we go to a lawyer? Do we go to our governments? Where do we go? It's.
Well, John, tell you what. You stay in touch with us and let us know what happens, and we'll see what we can do to help out from this end by making your story. Hey, let's get it out there. That's for sure.
Thank you very much, Brian, for your time. We appreciate it, Heather and I.
Well, we appreciate you talking to us this morning.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's John Tape dealing with a situation with a house in Chatham that he wants to build, and it's something that you just will not believe unless it was happening to you.